Tuesday we do a Tuesday talk with Team iThrive, and today it's Ria, who's the head of the iThrive Academy. So Ria and I are going to talk about this really beautiful topic about tips for staying healthy and safe during pregnancy. And do ask your questions in the chat. For those of you who are watching, we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Um, so I'll tell you why we kind of decided to talk about this beautiful subject because internally within the team, so we've also worked with a lot of women who have come to us for fertility issues and who kind of needed support pre-conception. But Ria herself here has her own story to share. So we thought we'll just come today and talk about this and give some really valuable tips while we discuss this topic. And Ria, what are your thoughts? What is it that you'd want to discuss?
So, first of all, as you've already mentioned, even I want to do this on record today that we are discussing this topic today because personally I am pregnant. So, who better than already in this journey can explain you and tell you about tips to stay healthy and safe during pregnancy. And yeah, according to me, Mugdha, it's a very sensitive time, as every one of us know, and staying healthy all the more becomes important. So that is where a lot of things, not just nutrition but other parts also come into picture. So you have to like look into health in its totality.
Cool, cool. All right. So, and congratulations once more.
Thank you.
I can never stop saying enough congratulations to you and Mr. Fowley. But, yeah. So I'm going to show some of the comments that are coming up. Someone saying you got this
I
right.
got this.
Cool. So, Ria, what are the phases of pregnancy itself, right? Like it's a 9 month journey that we know for sure from the time you actually test positive. But
Yes.
is there anything before or after? So, what are your thoughts on that?
So, in general, it's not just about the 3 trimesters that you see after you are pregnant. It also depends a lot on how did you get pregnant, what were your conditions, health conditions,
Right.
environment, and everything you were in before conceiving. That actually depends or determines a lot how well you conceive. Then comes the actual pregnancy. It is divided into 3 trimesters: the first, second, and the third, and then comes something that's postpartum. So these are the different phases, and your health during all these 3 phases is really important. And health, again, it's not just about your physical health. Physical health is important, but it's also important that you stay fit mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I think Mugdha is the better person to talk about that here. So again, overall health is what you need to look into, and we'll go into that like
Absolutely.
phase wise.
Yeah. So, like, I nowadays tell people that don't even plan on having a baby until you know your body, like, especially the woman, right? Like, unless you know your body is really, really harm. Because from my own experience of having Loka, right, what I realized, and at that time, I didn't really focus so much on nutrition. I was in the corporate world and I was like in
Hmm.
that place where I wasn't thinking about food and nutrition. But it's a process, it's a journey, it's a state where your child inside you is really going to be uncompromising, right? So that fetus, the baby that's developing inside you, is going to make the best of the environment, right? It's going to take whatever it needs for its growth. So if you're already in a state of depletion and then you're actually creating life inside your womb, you are going to lose a lot of your vitality and your nutrients just because the baby has to grow. That's nature's innate design, right? It wants that life to receive everything.
And
So yeah.
that's going to burn you out after the baby is here, and that's
Yeah,
the most important part you have to deal with on your own. And physically that strength is needed, so that vitality is really important.
is really important. And like even things like your calcium and all, like see the baby is developing bones as well, right? Where is it going to get its calcium from? It's going to leach it from the mother's bones. The baby needs folate and all of that for the neurons and the nerves to develop, for the brain to develop. Where is it going to get all of that? It's going to be from the mother's body. So it becomes super important that you assess your nutritional status much before you plan your pregnancy and take at least 3 months of time. See, of course, and this is like planned pregnancies, like sometimes there can be accidents also where you've not planned, but you end up conceiving, right? And that's why it becomes important for you to actually take care of your health all the time, especially if you're in this
Absolutely.
fertile stage where you might have a baby in the near future. So you have to really look at your internal health, get your blood work done, make sure you're taking the right, like zinc becomes so important. And zinc not just for the women, right? Like zinc is also for men, because your sperm motility, like a man's sperm motility, the sperms like the
Quality.
strength also, right? Like the quality also, it depends on zinc status. A lot of men who have low zinc actually end up with low motility and sperm quality, and that's why they have trouble conceiving. But both the mother and the father should take care of their nutritional status, mother more than the father, because so many nutrients get utilized, right? And that's preconception, right? Like before you actually have a little life developing inside you, you kind of make sure your body is absolutely the kind of vehicle life would be created in. And the mental health aspect is so important, so important, because you are creating literally another human inside you, and you want that human to receive the best of your vibrational energy and your frequency.
And see, Mugdha, we've already seen that it won't get created, you won't conceive until everything is in place, right? Until you
Right.
check your internal status, until you are emotionally in that state, until you're emotionally ready, right? All of these readiness is really important for you to
Really important. And
conceive.
that's where the spiritual connect also becomes important. But mentally, like I know of women who get so stressed because they're not financially ready, or in terms of their social setup, like their environment, the kind of support systems they have, they might not be ready for having a baby. And then when you're like in that thought loop, when you're thinking of that, your baby is going to receive that information too,
True.
and you don't want that kind of priming and that kind of programming to happen inside a little human's brain. So your mental state, why are you even having a baby, you should be very clear about that. Like a lot of people have babies because the adults in their life, like their in-laws or their parents, say nahi chalo abhi bachcha paida kar lo, humko dada dani nana nani hona hai.
I really like this point that actually a woman and the couple should know that why are they doing this?
Yeah.
The why should really be determined before going ahead.
And I think in your case, how was it, Ria? Because I know that you weren't really thinking so much about having a baby, but what happened to you? Like once
So it
you
was,
discovered you were pregnant?
yeah, it was just in talks, like let's plan, like let's think about it, and then you just talked about accidental pregnancies. So it could be one of that, but still, I was taking care of my internal health. So being in iThrive, the most important thing that I learned was reproductive health can go at toss if you're not following a good lifestyle, and it can also come back to normal functioning if you take care of your lifestyle. And then it also includes how well you exercise, your sleeping patterns, eating, and everything, like nutrients, important nutrients. So for me, being a vegetarian, again, there were a lot of challenges when it comes to a lot of nutrients. So again, being at iThrive, I got to know the importance of good quality proteins, taking in good quality proteins. So eggs is what I had started with. So that really helped. And even if I think about it, last 2 years back, I had suffered from reproductive issues myself, but they got resolved. They got resolved on their own once I decided to start exercising. I actually started gymming. Weight training helped me a lot, including eggs helped me all the
Yeah.
more.
I
So
remember
that,
that. Like
yeah,
I remember you telling
exchanging.
me that after you started adding animal protein like eggs, a lot of your reproductive issues kind of came down, and then even supplements you started, right?
Supplements, yes. Even I started with a multivitamin, and then as we started making our own line of supplements and releasing those,
Yeah.
I started taking those individually. That and one more thing. So exercise coupled with animal protein worked really well for me, like really good, and that helped improve my reproductive health. No problems in that. And the other day I actually thought I actually got to know that I've conceived. So it becomes really easy when you actually focus on These might seem like small things, but it takes practice to bring them into application. These two things, along with, I had also stopped taking vegetable and seed oils. I had like
Mm,
completely taken them out of my food. I use ghee and butter. I was not fond of coconut oil that much, but ghee
mm,
and butter, this change also really helped me. So these three were the most important things pre-conception which I followed on a daily basis. So for someone who also can get accidentally pregnant because they are in their fertile age, these three things can really help them. And planned pregnancy, of course, you can decide for the nutrients to be taken, 6 months before the before you actually
right,
plan to conceive and everything. So folate becomes important, B12 becomes important, because that's where it will take care of your mental health also, right?
right,
The rising homocysteine levels can also be taken care of. So a lot of it also depends on what comes up in the blood reports.
right,
So
absolutely.
that,
And I think you did that. You did your blood work, you did your analysis, and
yeah,
kind of seen what work needs to be done. Like even though you weren't like really planning
planning
full on
exactly.
for pregnancy, just the fact that you had this thought in your head and then you'd gotten your analysis done and then you started taking care of your internal health.
Yeah, I
But
started
like, what
taking.
happened to your mind? Like once you discovered you were pregnant, what really happened? Like
Oh
how
my
did it
God!
feel?
First, I was on like of the world. I actually didn't expect that it would happen so soon. To be honest,
Hmm.
I didn't expect.
Hmm.
It was just a try, and it actually came through. So a lot of changes, so a lot of changes in my mind, and a lifestyle change altogether. That initially I didn't think about it so much. It didn't occur to me because, frankly, I didn't have any symptoms. So that even got me scared because I thought that symptoms nahi hai, so there's something wrong. But then it was all okay. That's actually a sign of a healthy pregnancy, that you don't have any
Exactly. Like, I
symptoms.
think a lot of the symptoms that come under the pregnancy cluster are often symptoms of things being wrong. Like, I think Suyash discovered this, right? That the nausea and the morning
Yes,
sickness was more to do with molybdenum deficiency. And I think in
he did.
Nilisha's case, he took care of the molybdenum deficiency and her morning sickness was actually mitigated.
Or
And see,
cured.
the thing is for you and like even like Suyash, not Suyash, but like his wife, the functional nutrition medicine knowledge that we have really helped with the pregnancies, right? I
Absolutely.
remember my own pregnancy. So even before Loka was born, and that time it was not even accident. Like I had started planning for a baby, right? I really wanted. I was 37 or some. No, I was 32 that time, and I was like, okay, it's time, and I really want to have a baby. And the first time I actually got a positive pregnancy test, because I hadn't really taken care of my health, right? I was in the corporate world and I was eating crap food and drinking lots of
Sedentary
tea and
lifestyle.
coffee. I had like horrible lifestyle, sleep was missed, mental stressors were there, all of that was there. So the first time I actually got a positive pregnancy test, I had a miscarriage within like a month.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was so because when you're planning for
disheartening.
pregnancy and you see your positive test, you don't even think a miscarriage, right? And then it was really heartbreaking. And I didn't know it, like it was probably my depleted status itself that like I couldn't like really hold the pregnancy in. And then of course like Loka, like that pregnancy was then positive, and then the gynecs were all over the place. No, let's do progesterone
Exactly.
suppositories, and let's do progesterone tablets, and let's make sure we maintain the pregnancy. And like for 3 months I was on this excess progesterone overload, and I know that messed up my actual hormone health even more, including my brain chemistry, right?
That makes you
But I
nauseous also, right?
yeah, it's horrible. So I looked sick in my pregnancy. I looked really ill because I was throwing up all the time. I had like this horrible aversions to food. I couldn't eat, and like the only food I would be able to eat was food that would kind of be really super spicy and hyper stimulating to my senses, right? Like mostly
Hmm.
junk kind of food. Like home food would not really work well, and I didn't know I was super gluten sensitive also. So I was eating like rotis and all of that because healthy, right? But
Exactly.
yeah, so I actually had an experience of a pregnancy in the not most healthiest body versus your experience of what
Exactly.
pregnancy feels like, right? Like it's a natural process. Yes, there are some symptoms, like lightheadedness, the dizziness, the fatigue. That's going to happen because your body is literally creating another life. But you shouldn't really look or feel sick during pregnancy. Is what I think. Okay, we have a question here. What should we eat in every month or trimester for a proper child development? Ria, I'll let you take that one. Okay, Ria is frozen, or is that my internet? Okay, it's Ria's internet. All right, I'll answer this question until Ria comes back. So the question is, what should you eat in every month or trimester for proper child development? Ria, did you lose electricity there? Okay, there, you're back.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
All right. You want to take that question? The one on screen? What should we
eat
eat
in
in every
every
month?
month, trimester for proper child development. So, see, nutrients are the most important thing when it comes to pregnancy because the requirement increases. There are certain nutrients which I took initial 3 months in my first trimester. It was well, along with iodine. I took care of since being a vegetarian, seafood, and no offense of iodine also. So I took these three mostly in the supplemental form, and of course your energy requirements along with requirements they increase a lot. So try and incorporate food in small and frequent quantities as and how you can. So for me, symptoms or like nausea or morning sickness was not a problem. So I could actually eat properly. Certain foods I had become I had developed aversions to, but then most of it I could eat. So these three nutrients the first trimester. In the second trimester now, I am actually focusing on calcium, iron, along with the B vitamins. So I actually have natal essential or
Yeah.
multivitamin. So that I am taking along with uh, protein, like extra protein in the form of a powder. So that's again safe, recommended by our supplement guru Suyash. So that I'm taken
Even the
care of
prenatal
there.
was something that he
Yes, yes.
discovered, right?
Even mine,
Yeah.
even that was discovered by him. So I actually took all the supplements under his guidance, and I am doing really good. So all thanks to Suyash there. So these
Yeah.
nutrients in the
Suyash is our supplement king when it comes to
yes, definitely.
anything, but even with pregnancies. Cool. Yeah. So that's, I
So
think, primarily it's the micronutrients, and then the macros are like your protein and your carbs
yes,
and your fat. And like even there, I think we continue to stick to our guidelines in terms of like saturated
yes,
fat
and
and
safety of the food is something,
absolutely
and supplements also, safe supplements. So when I say prenatal,
same
there
supplement.
are a lot of prenatals, but then again, safe supplements is something you need to go for. So for again supplements, why? Because no apparent non-vegetarian protein source where I can get in all other. I have started taking bone broth in me.
Yay.
So that's about the third trimester. I'll continue. So
Yeah. And I think
we
one
continue with the
indicator will be,
nutrient.
yeah, one indicator will be your hunger itself, right? Because in the third trimester, the baby's mass really grows. Like the baby really gains a lot of weight in the third trimester, while in the
Hmm.
first one, it's just like the vital organs developing and all of that. So calorie needs really go up in the
Yes.
last trimester. But what like the mistake that even I made was like eating a lot because like I was like two lives inside me and all of that. I think what becomes important is you understand your body's hunger cues, and yes, while you eat more, you don't unnecessarily overeat beyond what is needed, right? So your body will tell you. And I've seen pregnant women, yeah, feel hungry. Like you feel hungry at faster intervals.
Don't stuff yourself. That's going to exaggerate symptoms. It might exaggerate symptoms. So you
Yeah,
listen to your. I agree with you. You listen to your body's hunger, and you go ahead.
and yeah, and then
But the
keep these
energy requirements
safe
and
foods.
the macro.
Yeah, and then you keep
Yes.
these foods, now the ghees and the butter and like the good safe carbs and protein, and then every time you're hungry, you eat these. Like a lot of people eat a lot of nuts during pregnancy because they think those really give like there are so many myths around nuts from like fair skin
Energy.
to healthy babies and all of that. So while nuts are, yeah, like the Indian obsession with fair skin, but while nuts are like a source of immense number of calories, nuts can also contain too many omega-6 fatty acids and anti-nutrients. And you don't want to do that. Na? So uh, I wouldn't anymore recommend too many nuts in pregnancy. You can get your calories from fat like ghee and butter, and then use that ghee and butter to make your food, and get your calories from there itself instead of wanting to eat nuts. So pregnancy is not a free pass.
Absolutely.
A lot of people think pregnancy, because they're going to gain weight any which ways, they have a
Anything
free pass.
you want.
I did that, right? And my nephew, who was there, I think in the eighth month, he was like, "Why are you even eating like this stuff?" I'm like, I'm gaining weight anyway, so it doesn't matter." He's like, "No, but I'm pretty sure it's not good for the baby." And he's 7 years older than Lokana. He must have been like six and a half or something at that time. So now that I look back, I was like, this child had more wisdom than me. But
Yes.
yeah, so I think that kind of covers what should be eaten every month and every trimester. And when
Yes.
it comes to supplementation, and I would still recommend that you talk to someone, like, even if you don't come to iThrive, talk to someone who understands the nuances of
Uh,
supplementation. So that becomes important. What else did I get as a question here is your career, Ria, and this is something I really want to address, because for me, because my symptoms were so bad, right, and I was with Flipkart at that time, but I was literally throwing up all over the place. Looking at a computer made me feel sick. So I quit my job because I just couldn't work, and I felt it was very unethical to kind of take leave and like try to hold on to a job and all of that. And you actually in iThrive also, you're in such an important role, right, like heading the entire academy. So how are you managing your career with the pregnancy? And that's something I want you to share.
I would want to share this by thanking you first. All thanks to you. So, touch wood again, when it comes to symptoms, I didn't have a lot of symptoms. I could manage working from office, coming to office for the first 3 months. And there I actually saw that there was a lot of fatigue setting in after
Hmm.
getting home. And, despite of house help, there was a lot of fatigue setting in. I just didn't feel like doing anything after office.
Hmm.
So work wise, I was doing good. So that is when I actually approached you for this work from home option, if it's possible. So it all depends on where you work first, how your bosses are understanding and everything, and how your situation is symptoms wise. So
Yeah.
I am able to work, no problem with that. Careers are really important. You should not give them up just because there's this different phase of life that you're going through. Like, you should try and balance everything out, and that does not mean giving up on what you're doing. So this is a very beautiful thing that I'm doing. This contribution, I feel that I found the purpose of my life. So I didn't want to leave this at any cost. So I had to make this work, and I hope I'm giving justice to this.
You are, and I think that balance, like that's something a lot of women are not able to kind of bring, right? But you are so clear about like your daily to dos and what has to be done, and sometimes like as faculty, we get reprimanded if we miss out on our deliverables. Also, I'm very scared that I've not finished the DIY course recording over this weekend. I'm
Let's
like, how do I
talk
tell?
about it after the live
But
stream,
I
Mugdha.
think that focus you have on your personal growth and the fact that your career is a very important aspect of who you are. It's not just about money, right? It's about how you
Exactly.
growing intellectually, how the financial freedom that you. It's not like again your family is not going to support you financially, right? They will, but the fact that you have your own financial independence, you have your own capacity to grow intellectually, you don't want to let go of that. And I think this is something that I want women who are watching this to understand, that it doesn't have to be an either or mode, right? It doesn't have to be either creating a family or building your career, because no, you can do both, right? And you just
And
have to
Mugdha,
find your
don't you
way.
think it is important to, for a woman to know this and continue doing that thing? Because if she's like not doing anything, she'll be into a different loop of thinking
Yeah.
altogether, and it is going to affect the baby.
it's going to affect the baby. You'll suddenly get involved in family drama because your mind wants something to chew on all the time, right? Your mind wants to like be
True.
active. So if you're not doing something that fulfills your soul or like work that you really enjoy, you're start going to start looking for other kind of conversations to connect with people, and usually you're not going to have the best of that, right? So the mind then starts getting occupied with drama. And what else happens, I've seen this again with a lot of women, including my own batchmates, that that phase of like pregnancy and then having a child, and the first few years of a child are really really demanding, there's no doubt about it. But they end up like, even if you say that 2 or 3 years of your life you put into this without really staying in some way or form connected to your career, the nature of knowledge is that it will continue to grow and you will kind of start getting left back, and then to come back into the place that you really deserve to be, especially if you're someone who's intelligent and who has so much to give to the world, you'll lose track of that, and then you'll end up in this feeling of I'm not good enough to go back, and then
Absolutely.
you'll make your life all about your child, and then that's where like dysfunctional parenting also can start, right? Because you don't have anything of your intrinsic sense of value is now entirely derived from your child.
Hmm.
And if something like if the and then you would want your child to kind of live the kind of life you want, right? So we've seen this with even my generational trauma, I think, is mostly from that only. So
Hmm.
as a woman, it's really important that you continue to hold an identity beyond motherhood, because that identity is going to serve you even when your child grows up and like goes on his or her own, like 16, 18, 21, at whatever point of time your child is going to leave the nest and going to go off, and you can't then 16 years later say that, oh shit, where is my life, right?
Absolutely. I think I
You
can
have to
just
continue to yeah.
keep on listening to you about this. I don't have anything to add here. That's like a really important thing that you've just
Yeah,
mentioned.
it is because I'm 44 now. Like there were 15 other women who did their masters in nutrition with me, and yes, they're amazing moms. Yes, they're amazing homemakers. But I know that how we fought for that seat for our masters, right? Because it was only
Absolutely.
15 that got selected, and that time there were just two colleges offering masters degrees, and like
Oh,
yeah, it was just SNDT and Nirmala Niketan in Maharashtra, in Bombay, right? So I know how hard they fought, how much they studied to kind of be there, and then it feels like have they done a disservice to themselves? So I think what you're doing is incredible. That you kind of realized where your vulnerability was, where you were feeling weak, and then you didn't want to just quit everything and just say that, oh, I'm going to focus on my pregnancy. You started looking for solutions where you could do both career and have someone to take care of you, even if it meant going back to your in-laws place. And that balance is really beautiful, and I really wanted to bring that aspect in. Like also you have been teaching health dysfunctions and all in the academy module, right?
yes.
So even now in our consults we're getting a lot of women who are experiencing infertility. Like it's really becoming a problem much beyond what I had seen even like 4 5 years ago. So what's your take on that?
So, yeah, I've been teaching and we've been covering the root causes along with it because that's what we teach, like functional nutrition. Mein. So, infertility has the number has gone like high. It's the top right now. Matlab, it was not like that like few years
Yeah,
back also. It and with COVID, so we can see like reproductive health getting messed up as a side effect
yeah.
of both the infection and the vaccine. So infertility has become a problem because of that thing, because of poor lifestyle issues that has become a problem. So it's not something that these women who like suffer from infertility problems, these women actually do not realize that it has got to do with your lifestyle. You have to be at the top of your lifestyle. All the things that are included in the life, like sleep, exercise, food, nutrition, everything.
And even
It's
personal
not
care
just about
products, right? Like
yeah,
sometimes these
toxins and
toxic,
everything.
yeah.
So my point being treatment. So treatments are not always the option. There's a way. So functional nutrition, how we do it naturally. like how we treat women who were infertile after entering the program 3 months down the line conceiving. And so we have like real data with us which shows that lifestyle, improving the lifestyle can help. So it's not always the last thing is not always treatment. You can still improve your lifestyle and conceive naturally, and that's the way it should be, is what I feel.
Right.
What do you think about it, Mugdha?
I think you're bang on in terms of the lifestyle itself becoming one primary factor in reducing infertility, and of course, like deficiencies, like I spoke of zinc, or ensuring that you're eating the right kind of food, ruling out dysfunctions like PCOD, PCOS, or
Insulin
uh,
resistance.
yeah, insulin resistant, or even if like your hormone levels aren't really like you need estrogen, you need progesterone to maintain the pregnancy, you need certain hormones for fertility, for conception
So
itself to
again,
take.
this can be done if you have guidance. See, internet
Yeah,
and Google will let you know a lot of things that you need to go for this testing and this one, but then it won't help you understand your body and your bio individuality, right?
right,
So that
right.
is where you need guidance. So viewers here, reproductive health and infertility can be improved. You can conceive naturally. It's just that you have to find proper guidance, and functional nutrition does that. We do that. We have data, so that's what I have to add on infertility, Mugdha.
Absolutely. And I think we spoke about supplements anyway. And again, like that's a
Yes.
little more personalized, and like while like overall you
Yes,
can take
that's
of painkillers and all that,
personalized.
you
That's
really have to
totally
look at your blood
personalized.
work and that.
Blood.
I want I, so you recently started like ask me about meditation. I sent you the link. Okay, little wonky in it. Uh, okay. Uh, yeah.
It's breaking, Mugdha.
Okay. I'm gonna ask them to stop using the Wi-Fi because I think that I'm losing bandwidth because people are, I think, using
You're
our
back.
Wi-Fi.
You're back.
Anyway, I'm back. Yeah, so I asked everyone to stop using Wi-Fi. Uh, so yeah, my question was, I was asking you about like recently you asked for a meditation, right? So I don't know if you're
Oh,
doing
yes,
that, but
yes, 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 yes. I
is it help?
totally
Like what?
forgot to mention that it really helped me. It is really helping me. So the time when I feel like a lot is happening, or these mood swings, they keep coming and going. It's a phase that you are out to feel mood swings. So when I feel that, when I'm like become anxious, which I don't usually, but somehow I've started becoming anxious and
No, it's
everything.
also the huge influx of the hormones, right? Because while the baby is growing, the placenta, everything is generating so many hormones, and like that baby's consciousness inside you itself is like
Making me.
experiencing something, right? So,
Yeah, so that is when I had actually asked you that I need this meditation that you had mentioned, and oh my God, it's working beautifully. It's 15 minutes, and I like feel relaxed. I feel like I don't want to do anything after that. And so this is a practice that really helps again during pregnancy.
yeah, because for me, like I don't think intense breath work and all I would ever recommend, right? Because we don't want your body to go through too many physical
Hmm.
movements like that. But I think the meditation that I sent you is a very it's like a visual one where you're
Yes,
like imagining your baby and yourself inside this like beautiful circle of light, and it's a very beautifully guided one, and it does help you with your mental state, and your baby would experience it too, right? Like as you're experiencing this relaxation and these feelings of
calm,
connectedness with God or universe. um, I'm sure your baby is also experiencing that, right? So maybe when your baby is born, instead of crying, it will be like om, and it will sit in meditative pose.
I wish.
Okay, we have some more questions.
What tests are
Is
important?
yeah, is using wireless during pregnancy harmful? Very important question, actually. From
Very
yeah.
important, yes.
And you
So
used to teach EMF
yes,
also, right, in the
that's
academy?
one of
Yeah.
the modules that I actually teach. So this question is actually surrounded around the EMFs and the radiations
Right.
coming in. So even in utero, like in the uterus, the baby can get affected of these radiations, and it can increase the risk of autism and ADHD like problems. So mental disorders seen in babies after they are born. This can one of the reasons can be radiations the baby is exposed to. So these
Wow.
radiations which I'm talking about are coming in from mobile phone, your Wi-Fi. That's the I would say worst of all, being around Wi-Fi all the time. So get something that is wired, and your mobile phones, of course, putting them on. So there are small things that we need to take care of in order to be away from these radiations. And the one thing that really helps is sleeping in a bedroom that is EMF free,
Appliance free and radiation free,
appliance
right?
free,
Yeah.
and radiation free. So that really helps us go a long way, internal health wise. Of course, externally you won't be able to see symptoms directly, but these
Yeah,
are
that's the thing
reasons.
about EMF, right? You can't see it visually, but like it's
Exactly.
there and it's harming you at its
It's
frequency
an
level.
invisible root cause, but it does actually cause a lot of harm. So that's one thing, and that's one new thing that pregnant women should actually consider staying off. So
Yeah.
that's
So
about
there, no, like I've actually researched crystals that can help with mitigating EMF exposure. So there
yes.
are two. So Shungite actually you don't get in India very easily. It's a Russian
Okay.
crystal. It's not really a crystal. It's a rock
Stone.
that's found. Yeah,
Okay.
but shungite actually shows it can ward off EMF radiation. And the second thing is these orgonite pyramids. So orgonite pyramids are resin and crystals and iron filings and copper together in one pyramid thing. So these two things actually, so people consider this a lot of woo-woo, but if 50 years ago I told someone that there are radiations that you can't see that are impacting your body, that would be considered woo-woo. So while EMF exists, even these crystals actually do help. So
And we are
that's great.
now around EMF like all the time. There's just
Yeah,
no
yeah,
cutting off. So we have to consider this. It's really
yeah.
important.
The other question was, what tests are important to find out the root cause of for infertility?
So again, first, if we identify the cause, then the tests would differ. So for
Yeah.
someone
Yeah, and I
who's
think
first,
like initially though everyone should get the basic panel done only, right? Like your
yes,
CBC, liver function, kidney function, what we get done, even your thyroid and all, because that's giving us like a basic picture of what's happening inside the body. Now, if beyond that we want to do advanced tests like hormone panels and all, we can recommend those, but
yes.
definitely get the basic ones. The ones that we recommend to everyone who comes on board our alive program, that I think people should do. And now, though we
And I
have
think
lab partners,
improvements in these
yeah,
parameters only help some
they'll
of
only help
them.
because even your
Yes,
hormone health is actually dependent on a lot of other things. So if there are infections and all coming up in your CBC, WBC panel, you fix that, obviously your reproductive system is going to get better. And
yes.
now though we have like tie-ups with even Thyrocare, Newberg, where the cost of all of these tests are coming as low as
Come
five
down.
thousand, 5,500, right? So
Oh,
it's
that's
not
great.
even expensive. Yeah. Yeah, it's really come down to that much, right? So it's not even expensive to get all of these tests done. Like just do them and see what's going on. Someone else is saying, okay, yeah, this is a good question. I've heard that during pregnancy, women are not supposed to take supplements. If yes, what I think we covered what supplements, but that myth that you're not supposed to take supplements, do you want to address that?
Yeah, totally. So see it again. I'll go back to my food preference being a vegetarian. If I would have continued eating like how I wouldn't have got all the necessary nutrients. And as I had initially mentioned, the requirements increase. And if you have like symptoms which are getting worse day by day, your food intake also goes down. So that is where safe supplements come into picture. You should know about the quality of supplements, what ingredients are there in your supplements. So that is where again guidance plays a very important role.
Yeah.
There are a lot of supplements which you'll find in the market. You will Google, you'll find n number of supplements for pregnancy itself, then again depends on what you need to take depending upon your internal status, how good are you eating and your food preference. So, and there's nothing like pregnant women are not supposed to take supplements. They actually need
we
supplemental
need
support.
we need those nutrients, right? Like if you're vitamin D deficient, where are you going to get your vitamin D from if you're not going to
Absolutely.
supplement, right? And people accept these over-the-counter iron pills that doctors give, iron folic acid pills that are given. That everyone takes because the doctor has recommended. But if we come and tell them that, hey, instead of this dirty, disgusting iron pill that's going to give you constipation, or this folic acid, that's like the next question, right? How important is an active folate supplement
Folate
instead of the
supplement.
regular folate, right? Like that folic, and if you're a woman who has an MTFHR gene
That
mutation, taking folic acid is going to be like really super poisonous, not just for you but even for the baby, so you can't do that. So knowing which form of supplement is super important. Active folate is something that gets absorbed in our body, and that's
body.
required for the baby's brain and spine development. And if your doctors can give you a prescription for iron and folic acid and you take that without doubts, why would you doubt something actually that's really cleaner and much better, that's going to support you and your baby, not just during pregnancy but even post pregnancy, right? So very important to take the right kind of nutrients as supplements, especially because even normally our food doesn't supply them. And then let's say you have too many aversions and all of that, you're not going to be able to eat a lot of variety of foods. Or if you
Absolutely.
do have morning sickness and you're throwing up, you're not even like digesting and
The
absorbing
food is not,
nutrition, right?
yeah, staying
Yes,
inside
you
to
need
be
them, right?
absorbed.
Otherwise, where is that nutrition going to come in from? That's
If
a good question. What else? I think we already answered this child's development. What type of food? We spoke about that
yeah,
for
we spoke about
trimester.
that.
I do want to add on like the last point before we end, which is basically about postpartum depression, right? So we've been speaking about like good, healthy pregnancies and what really it takes, like the pre-pregnant stage, also preconception. What
I
do you
would
need to do?
actually want to know about this particular term.
So I suffered from that. I had postpartum depression and I actually needed to go on antidepressants for nearly a year to kind of not that the antidepressants helped in any way, but I was put on antidepressants because I suffered from postpartum depression, and
How was
that
it like, Mugdha, like postpartum depression?
so
Like, how did it
mine wasn't
set
even
in?
actually postpartum. It started off during pregnancy only,
Okay.
especially in the last trimester, right? So for me, what used to happen is I would have extreme bouts of sadness and crying. And
Hmm.
because I had quit my job, right, I wasn't doing anything. And I
Um,
like my brain is capable of so many things. So it just became like I was just like at home all the day. And like, see, taking care of my daughter of Loka was beautiful. It was fun. But also, I was this hyper vigilant because I wasn't working, right? Like, all that brain energy then just went into. So I've told this to a lot of people. I'd even made an Excel sheet before Loka was born about her eat, sleep, poop schedule. Like, this is how much time she's going to
that's the
sleep for.
cutest thing I've heard.
Like, I was trying to manage my baby through Excel sheets because I wasn't working and I had like nothing to do with my brain. And of course, she wasn't sticking to that Excel sheet, so I felt so much like a failure. But anyway, my depression started off during pregnancy only because one is my mind was not actively engaged in doing something like beyond just staying at home and taking care of her. Secondly, I was super depleted, right? Like my thyroid, my TSH levels were off even then. And
Hmm.
I went back to some of my reports and saw, and like I was like, why didn't the doctor say that I was going through a thyroid problem? So TSH was off, vitamin D status was off. I was not sleeping at all in the night because I was like very anxious. So, and she would wake up because she would be hungry, and then she would drink milk and then poop and then all of that cycle, and I wouldn't fall asleep again. And a lot of women have this magical ability to sleep in the day when their baby sleeps. I never developed that skill. So, so, so I was perennially sleep deprived. So my brain wasn't getting that rest and reboot thing. And I was alone. So I was in Bangalore. I didn't really get like at least in Maharashtra, na, we have these ladies who come to do the malish
Yes.
and who like actually massage the mothers and all also, right? So I didn't have that support. I was mostly very irritated and cranky all of the time. So even when my mother came to actually help me with the like after the delivery, I used to get annoyed with my mom only. And then like I'd be like, I was like, no, you don't stay. I'll be alone only, so I don't get angry. So I was alone, and my like her dad used to work late night, so he would come home only at 11:30. So I was alone at home with a baby. And how much will a baby interact with you? And my brain had nothing to do. I was depleted nutritionally, B
A
complex.
lot of it happened.
So it was a lot, and I would be in the state of just feeling very sad and angry most of the time, right? And to the degree that I started feeling my existence didn't matter at all. So there's that feeling. It's a very low, dull, sad state to be in. Now I know so much better, right? Like if I had gotten sunlight exposure, if I had taken the right nutrients, if I had actively engaged my mind in something, like I did try teaching her sign language and all of that, and she did learn that. But I mean, if I had kept myself more, and if I had looked for the kind of help I needed, right? If I had like maybe even hired someone, been okay with like my mom and my family coming and staying with me and supporting me through that, I would have really not gone into that state. So postpartum depression is a real thing. It happens to a lot of women because, like, even when you're pregnant, the baby makes so many hormones that keeps you happy. When the baby comes out, like,
The
even those
hormones.
hormones are there, right? Yeah. And then your brain fog because you're sleep deprived. You now have this DNA wiring to always want to protect your child. So you're always looking for threats in the environment, like who's doing what, like this sneeze, what does it mean? This little burp, what does it mean? And you don't know really what does it take to like raise a child, right? You don't know what food, and you don't know anything. So that state really makes you feel very not good enough. At least for me, it was that, and that's where the depression came in. But having a community, having support systems, making sure your nutrition is taken care of, making sure your sleep is taken care of, and you get someone to care for you while you are caring for the child, that itself will change the equation, right? So you have to receive care, and you have to make that option available even before the baby comes, because then you won't really have so much time to think, right? So plan for your care
Right.
much before the baby comes, and then receive that care without feeling guilty and overwhelmed, right?
Guilty
And that
about
is
it.
what I
Yeah.
think differentiates, like, because I observe my cousins, I observe my sisters, I observe like so many other people in the family. I think it's that care that comes for the mother is what really differentiates the experience post delivery. So
Yes.
that's about it. Yeah. But cool. Anything you want to add, Ria, before we end the live?
I think that was the thing that I wanted to hear, like postpartum, what all can happen. The one thing you've covered, I was actually going to ask what all can be done. So
Yeah.
these things that you'd mentioned
Yeah,
definitely
and that phase,
should
no,
be.
those first 6 months, that time, if you take little time off from work and career and just focus on you replenishing yourself, that's still okay. Like that is not the time to try and work full time and take care of the baby also. It's you take care of the baby and you take care of yourself by receiving all the care that you can receive, right? So that's really
Absolutely.
important.
Yes. Thank you so much
You're
for
most
that.
welcome, and I'm so happy for you. And yes. All right, so guys, we are ending this live. Next Tuesday, I am going to be live with Pankuri. We're going to talk about children's health because
Oh,
she has been
nice.
working with a lot of our kid patients, even kids on the spectrum, and she's going to come and share her insights on that. And thank you so much, Ria.
Thank you,
And
Mugdha.
bye
Thank you,
bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.